Good morning, my beautiful soul followers. Hope everyone's having an amazing Sunday morning. So since it is Sunday, I figured I would do a little bit more of a general message today. So as I've had a whole bunch of consults the last week or so, I've been doing some conversations, and then as we enter November, there is this energy of change. As we enter 2022, there's a lot of people wanting to make changes, and that usually starts to kind of ruminate in November. A lot of people will start to think, okay, what do I want next year? What are my goals? What changes do I really want to make? And this year especially, we have a lot of political situations going on. We have health situations still continuing to go on. There's a lot of transformation in relationships. As a sex and relationship coach, as I'm talking to people, I don't know anybody who hasn't had some shift in their relationship with somebody. There's lots and lots of transformations happening, and transformation is beautiful, but it can shift us. There's a lot of shifting, and this year there's been a lot of people wanting to take massive stands on things and going, I'm gonna politically going, we need to change this, and we need to change this by, blowing up the system kind of energy. Or I want to change my life. I want to change what I look like. I want to change my relationship. I want all of these things because we all have different goals. And people thinking massively, okay, so I have to overhaul my entire life. If I want to get healthy, I have to, go on this crazy diet, exercise 1 million times a day, making these big changes and thinking huge. When in truth, a lot of our change maker potential are in the tiny little changes we can make, the tiny little ruptures. What ends up happening is we try to do this tearing, this complete tear a lot of times. And we see this a lot in our relationships. I see this a lot with my clients that are dating someone. They'll be like, this relationship isn't perfect, so I'm going to blow it up. I'm going to completely tear myself away from it instead of making the little changes that could be made, the little tears in the way we process things, or the little tears in having that difficult conversation type things. And that actually could save the relationship. But we're in this blow everything up kind of world right now. Again, with the political system, with the health, it's like we have these big grand dreams and goals, which are amazing. And I will never say that dreaming is bad. Dreaming is beautiful. I'm a massive dreamer. In truth, to get my house, I was having this conversation earlier today. I was explaining to somebody, how I got my house, because it actually was quite a process. And they didn't want to give it to me, and it was a hot mess. It was a hot mess. And I dreamed about it, and I manifested it, and I was a bit of a brat with it, and I was dreaming big because I knew I wanted it. So I will never say to not dream big, but sometimes when we're wanting to make changes in our lives, when we blow something up, when we go, okay, well, so I'm going to go from, not being happy with my body to getting on this crazy diet exercise routine, and we end up stepping into actually failure. We end up actually recreating the same cycle, when instead we can make these tiny little changes, these little tweaks, these little tears, these little ruptures to grow something. And particularly in our relationships, a lot of times people get stuck in a rut. I see this with my couples all the time. They're like, yeah, we're stuck in a rut, so maybe we just need to be done. Maybe we need to be done, or maybe we need to completely overhaul. And sometimes it's like, no, you don't need to throw the beauty out with the struggles. Instead, you can make these tiny little changes, these little tears in the relationship to build. When we are exercising, we're trying to build muscle. What our bodies are actually doing is every time we are lifting weights, we create these little tears. And the little tears, when they heal, start to build a better, more stronger muscle. And that is how we build. Well, guess what? The same principle applies in our lives. Instead of we don't go, okay, I'm going to totally rip my muscles. Like, I'm going to totally rip them, and then I'll rebuild them. No, we make these tiny little tears. The same thing, and it's not necessarily a tear, it's the tiny little changes we can make in our lives. So if you are somebody who doesn't meditate at all, you're not going to probably start out with an hour of meditation a day. Sometimes sitting with a candle and spending 5 minutes of just like looking into that candle and really finding a way to focus, that is a meditation. And then we move up to 10 minutes of just sitting in silence and going within. And then we build. You see what I'm saying? We can build and make the most change sometimes when we make these little changes, including our thoughts, including our focus points. A lot of people are like, I'm not going to think any negative thoughts. I'm going to be positive. Well, guess what? You're fighting a losing battle then. What we need to be doing is going, okay, I'm going to catch my negative thoughts. I'm going to take, 3 times in the day, and I'm going to really pinpoint some focused positive energy and making those changes. Or, when I see that person I'm struggling with, I'm going to find 3 things that I really am loving about them today. And that will create change in the relationship. I'm going to give 3 gratitudes to my partner each day, and that will start to build the relationship. So it's also sometimes our focus. We think to make change, we always have to fight, and we always have to scream and yell. And sometimes the biggest change just happens in here, and it's these little tiny changes. And when we do need to make these big changes, sometimes these little tears can make that. Now, I'm also a believer that sometimes when something really needs to shift, we need to shift it. And we know that. And guess what? You only know that from a soul level. That is you going within. But if you find yourself constantly having to tear and tear and tear, and you're like, why are things not changing? Try going smaller. And again, that's not saying dream smaller. That's saying make your changes smaller. As we go into this new year and you're wanting a different life, you're wanting to be more positive, you're wanting your relationships to be better, you want more money, start making the little changes. Make them small, and I promise you, 365 days of making small changes will change your life. It will. It will. So, look at where you're trying to completely tear things and where maybe you can make these tiny little step-ups in your life. Tiny little step-ups in your life. Tiny little shifts in your perspective or your energy. That's what makes true change. That's what makes change stay consistent. Otherwise, we end up creating the same cycle over and over and over again. So, just something to think about today, guys. I would love your perspectives. I would love something that you're going to try to make consistent change. I can tell you one thing I'm doing. So, this morning, and I've been doing this for actually like the last month or so. There's a song that really gets my perspective in a great place. So when I wake up, I do my normal gratitudes that I do in the morning, and before I come downstairs, I either sing the song in my head or I actually play the song on my phone, and it just gets me in a more centered space. And it's like, okay, that little change just shifts my perspective in the morning just enough to upgrade just a little bit, and then I can continue to add. So I would love to hear something that you're changing, the little changes, not these big, like, I'm gonna leave my ex-girlfriend. I'm gonna make my girlfriend my ex-girlfriend. I'm gonna just like throw her away. That's a big change. I don't want to hear about the big changes. Tell me about the little changes you're making that are going to make a difference in the long term. So All right, guys, I love you, and I will see you tomorrow for another Addison Unleashed. If you want to work with me one-on-one for the month of November, I'm doing free consults. You can find all about that at addisonbell.net. Other than that, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.